guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to today's video. If you are new to my channel and this is the first video you're seeing of mine, my name is Shan from HomeWithShan over on Instagram. I've got a little baby boy called George who is 18 months old now, so I guess he's not a baby boy, he's a toddler boy. But I've been on YouTube since he's been born and pre-George as well when I was pregnant, so I've got loads of content on my channel from literally pregnancy all the way up to 18 months. And yeah, there's a lot there. So I've done lots of weaning videos, I've done lots of food prep videos if that is what you're interested in, but I've also done lots of videos just generally about motherhood and like him growing up and stuff like that. But in today's video, I basically wanted to film some of the meals that I've cooked for myself and George this week. If you guys don't know, I am a solo parent during the week because my partner works away, so I like to batch cook and prep as much food as I possibly can, and I also like to eat near enough the same food that George eats throughout the week. So all of these meals in today's video are going to be toddler friendly, but they're also going to be me friendly, I will eat them as well. It's just so much easier to eat the same food than having to cook two separate meals. And like I said, I do like to batch cook to get ahead of myself and also make sure that I've always got things in the freezer and things to pull out on those days that just things are going crazy. So I basically just picked up the camera and recorded everything that I cooked this week, and I wanted to share it with you. All of the meals in today's video are also vegetarian. I'm not actually vegetarian, but I tend to go for the veggie options as much as I possibly can. So yeah, I really hope this is a video that you're going to enjoy and get a little bit of inspiration from, because sometimes I find it so difficult to find recipes that I'm going to like, George is going to like, that are affordable and really tasty as well. So I hope this provides you with a little bit of inspiration. Without further ado, let's crack on into the video and I'll catch up with you guys at the end. The first recipe I'm going to make is a butternut squash risotto. This actually ended up being a generally roasted veg risotto, but we'll go with this for now. I added some sage, some salt and pepper to some butternut squash chunks, and then just popped this in the oven for about 20 minutes or so. While this was cooking, I just chopped up a shallot. I think the recipe itself actually said an onion, but I had a shallot just hanging around, so I used this instead. I just chopped this up nice and fine so that it's nice and easy for George to eat, and then I just chopped up some butter into cubes and stuff, and that was ready to go into the pan as well. And then I'm going to fry off the onion, or the shallot in my case. Once the butter had melted, I just added in the shallot, and then I just mixed that all up in the butter and fried that off for a couple of minutes. And then I decided to add in my risotto rice. You can use whatever kind of rice you want, as long as it's risotto rice or paella rice. Cover that in all the buttery, oniony goodness, and then I just added a bit of white wine vinegar. The recipe actually said to use actual white wine, but I didn't have any, so I used white wine vinegar instead. Obviously slightly less than the recipe said because it's quite strong. I then made my vegetable stock, which was just a stock cube with some boiling water, and then started adding that bit by bit to my risotto until it was all gone. And then by the time that had all reduced, my butternut squash was ready to pop in. Like I said, I didn't actually feel like I had enough butternut squash to go with all of this risotto, so I actually ended up adding a little bit of Mediterranean veg that I actually just had in the fridge. It was already roasted, so this was courgette, peppers, I think a couple of other things as well, but just general Mediterranean veg was perfect. And then I added a hell of a lot of parmesan because I absolutely love parmesan, and then mixed that all in together, tasted it a little bit, added a little bit of seasoning, and then it was pretty much ready to go. This was George's dinner and he absolutely loved it. And then I just popped a load into containers so that I could either put them in the fridge or freeze them. I also portioned out myself a little bit for dinner as well, so me and George could eat exactly the same thing on the same night, and it was just so easy because I only had to cook it once. But yeah, that was our dinner for night one. I'll link the recipe down below. So I'm making George some courgette and feta and pea fritters. He absolutely loves fritters, and it's a really good way of getting veggies into him. So for this one, I'm going to need one courgette. I've got 65 grams of flour, 2 medium eggs, about 40 to 50 grams of feta that will crumble up, and then I'll also have some baking powder, obviously as many peas as you would like, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then some mint. I haven't got fresh, I've only got the dried mint, so that will have to do for now. But that is everything that's needed for this recipe, and it's so easy, so straightforward. I've already got a pan on the heat and we're going to make the fritters. Just started off by grating the courgette with my grater. I absolutely love this grater. If you guys don't have a grater like this that catches everything at the bottom, I really highly recommend it, and I'll link something down below that's very similar to this. I grated all of that down really finely, and that's really perfect for things like this. Added that to my bowl along with my peas. Seasoned it a little bit with some salt and some pepper, and then I also added my mint. Fresh mint would be a lot nicer in this, but I only had
this mint, so I just added that in along with my flour and my baking powder, mixed that all in together, and then once that was all mixed together I added my eggs, 2 eggs into this one so that the mixture sticks together really nicely, and then I also crumbled up some feta into the mixture before mixing it all together, and then that was literally my batter done. Once your batter's at a consistency where you feel like it's going to stay together when it goes into the pan, I popped it onto a already hot pan, and then just let it fry off like you would with pancakes or anything like that. Really, really nice and easy, and I just let them cook for a little while before flipping them. As long as they're not burnt on the bottom, that's pretty much how you know they're done. And then let them cook again on the other side, making sure that they cook all the way through. And then pretty much I just did that on repeat a couple of times until all the batter was done. As with all the recipes in today's video, I will link this one down below. I do tend to deviate slightly from some of the recipes in this just because I didn't have some of the ingredients, or I just think that it'd be better or something. But yeah, generally everything will be linked down below.
And then these are the finished courgette pea feta fritters. They look so good and they smell delicious as well. I'm going to serve them with some tzatziki. I'm just going to cut them up into little soldiers, and then George can have them with his tzatziki. Oh my gosh, can you see? He's just sat down for his dinner today. This is tomorrow's dinner. He's got mushroom risotto, and there's a little bit of saurine on the floor there, so realistic mum life. That risotto I made yesterday, and that's leftovers, and then this will be for tomorrow, so I don't have to cook tomorrow evening. I know these are a fan favourite. I know he will eat them, especially if there's a dip to go with it, so yeah, I love these ones, and I'll link the recipe down below.
Next up we have a potato and aubergine curry, absolutely delicious. It's actually a korma, so it's something that George can eat, and it's really, really easy to make. It's actually a HelloFresh recipe, but I'm doing a cheat. I'm not using HelloFresh, I'm using my own ingredients, and I also have a jar of korma sauce that I think I just got from Tesco or something. So really, 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 really easy dinner, but something that was delicious and I knew that George would like. So after cutting up potatoes, I'm just going to boil them off like you can see, and then chop my onion. I think I ended up using about half of this because it was a massive, massive onion, so I think I used about half of this onion and chopped this up so that I could fry it in the pan. I've already started heating up that pan so that it's nice and hot for when the onion actually goes in, but yeah, I'll get this chopped nice and finely just like I did with the potato, so that one, it cooks quicker, but also then it's nice and easy for George to eat. And then I'm also going to chop up my aubergine. This is going to go in with the onions, and I'm cutting this again quite finely, smaller than I would normally have it, just because again George is going to be having it. But with aubergine, I guess it's quite nice because it goes soft when it's cooked. I really do feel that aubergine is underrated, but I also have my garlic cloves that I'm going to pop into this pan as well. So I'm going to pop the onion in, give that a little stir, and then I'm also going to pop my aubergine in as well, give that a little mix around, and then I'm also going to grate up my garlic cloves that I showed you guys earlier. I like grating them just so you get nice, lots of flavour, but you don't get lots of like big chunks of garlic in your food, especially for George. I wouldn't think that's a good idea, so having like a grater or something like this is really, really helpful. And then I'm just going to mix that all in and then leave it there until it gets a lot of colour, mixing consistently. And then once my potatoes were done, I added those to the aubergine mixture as well, fried them off a little bit so they had a little bit of colour on, added some salt and pepper just to give it a little bit of seasoning, and then I also wanted to add a little bit of a garam masala just before I added my korma mixture, just because I just wanted to have like a bit of flavour in there. You definitely don't have to do this though. If you were doing this the proper way according to the recipe, this is when you'd add tinned tomatoes, and then you'd also add some more spices, and you'd also add some coconut milk and all that stuff. But I'm actually just going to be using a jar of korma sauce that I got from Tesco, so I'm adding that in, and then I'm also just rinsing out the jar with a little bit of water, adding that all in and letting that all cook down basically. Once it had all heated through, I gave it a taste and I thought it needed a bit more seasoning, so I added a bit more salt and pepper and then gave that a mixture, and then let that, like I say, cook down until it was a thicker kind of consistency. That was nice and ready, and this one, because it's got potatoes in it, didn't feel like I needed rice with it as well, so that was pretty much ready for me to portion up and give a little portion to George and a little portion to myself as well. Next up we have the easiest and the tastiest pasta ever. It's literally just cherry tomatoes, or just normal tomatoes, but cherry tomatoes taste the best, and feta, baked on a baking tray with a little bit of oil. Trust me, this is going to be the best sauce ever. I'm also to this going to add a little bit of a garlic. I'm just using lazy garlic today because I was in quite a rush. I think you probably would have seen me do this in a vlog recently. But yeah, I sprinkled the garlic all around, and then I also added some basil on top of the feta because I actually love basil on top of anything. And then I popped this into the oven for literally 15 minutes. The recipe will be down below, by the way. Then I just added some pasta to a boiling pot. Obviously, pasta takes roughly about 10 to 11 minutes if you want it like al dente. So this whole meal literally takes like 15 minutes, if that, because once everything's done out of the oven, I'll literally have this ready. Once it's all cooked and the pasta's been drained, I literally just add everything from the oven, so all the tomatoes and the feta and lovely juices and everything, into the pasta, and then mix it up all together. It is so delicious. I have to say, I kind of think it tastes a lot better than it looks, but oh my gosh, does it taste delicious. When it comes to pasta dishes, I always tend to plate mine up first because I like to have whole pasta, like the pasta in its true form, if that makes sense, on my plate. But for George's, I will cut it up a little bit in the pan just before I put it into his bowl, just because it's slightly less messy if he eats it in like little bits, I think. At least that's what I tell myself. Like I said, it doesn't look as delicious as it tastes. Trust me, this one is an absolute winner. But yeah, like I said, I cut the pasta up a little bit more for George just so that it's a little bit easier for him to eat, slightly less messy hopefully, but he absolutely smashed this one. He absolutely loved this meal. Most pasta dishes he does love, but this one in particular was an absolute winner. I would really, really highly recommend trying this one because like I said, it's a favourite for both him and for me. To make this even better, you can just add a bit of lemon juice to the top, which I think adds something amazing to it. Obviously fresh lemon's better, but I had this in the cupboard so I'm using it. But yeah, so delicious.
So yeah, that was everything that I cooked over the past week or so. Obviously I had other things like little snacky bits. I sometimes had some toast and like did some easier dinners and stuff, and we had like leftovers from last week that were in the freezer and things like that. But generally, like, that's the kind of amount of cooking that I'll do in a week, and like I said, I'll try and keep ahead of myself and always have things in the freezer for like emergencies. I find it quite difficult to keep on top of everything, but by doing like bigger portions when I'm cooking and like freezing things, batch cooking, all that kind of stuff, and kind of meal planning, I find I can keep on top of it a lot better. If you guys are like regular viewers of my channel, you probably know already that I work 4 days a week and George goes to nursery 4 days a week. And on the days that I go into the office, so 2 of those days, I really genuinely don't have time to like cook anything, really. Like, I'll have to have things batch cooked. And then on the days that I work from home, I try and do like cooking during my lunch break, which is actually what I'm about to do now. After I film this little segment, I literally have like maybe 15 minutes to whiz something up together. But that is sort of like how I manage my time and everything. Honestly, trying to cook around a toddler who is tired and hungry and there's no one else there to entertain him. Like, anyone else that's been in that situation will know that unless you basically give them an iPad or like put them in front of the telly, even then that sometimes doesn't work. But it's just near enough impossible. And obviously after he comes home from nursery, I like to see him and spend some time with him before bedtime. So yeah, batch cooking and prepping and like speedy meals that are tasty that me and him can both enjoy is something that is like really important to my life. If you guys are in a similar situation, I really hope you did enjoy this video. Please do give it a like and subscribe if this is something that you want to see more of, because I'm more than happy to continue making these videos. And it kind of just helps me know like whether it's something that you're interested in or whether it's just like you'd prefer to just see vlogs and things. All of that feedback is so helpful. Like, I genuinely love all your support and I love our community. And if you guys have any suggestions of like really good toddler and mum friendly meal ideas, please do pop them down in the comment section down below, because I will be nicking them and probably doing them in my next batch cooking video or something. But for now, I think I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
'Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.